Hey everyone, this is SleakGaming here, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. This is going to contain spoilers for the new Battle For Lordaeron scenario in the World of Warcraft Battle For Azeroth Pre-Patch. So if you haven't done it yet and don't want to know anything about it, please go and do it, and then come back to this video because this is a breakdown of everything we see in game, the lore, the conflict, everything. So with that said, let's jump straight into the video. So as most of you are aware at this point, the Horde and the Alliance have both threw their dummies out the pram and are in the middle of a heated faction war because Sylvanas made a bonfire out of that big tree. And now we have the Alliance's retaliation, the Battle For Lordaeron, the former home of Arthas Menethil and an old Alliance city, until the Forsaken decided to take the city and live under it, and henceforth would baptize it as the Great City, Undercity. You know, it's not the most creative name in the world, is it? The might of the Alliance now stand outside the walls of Lordaeron, ready to attack, not only out of hatred and revenge, but to also gain an advantage considering they lost Teldrassil to undead Hitler. But as the Alliance push on, Sylvanas decides that living people are icky, so she unleashes the Blight, killing both Horde and Alliance and raising their bodies from the dead to serve her in her cause. A lot of people are surprised at these atrocities Sylvanas has committed, but looking at it, these are just efforts to survive and wipe out the competition. What's that, you say? Morally grey. I know that's become a meme, but let's apply it to this situation. Sylvanas' efforts of squashing the Alliance assault isn't out of pure evil. She has fought in many wars over the years as a general and a leader. She's used to war, and wars typically require hard decisions and sacrifices to gain the upper hand. Sacrifices that other Horde leaders aren't willing to take part in because of their honor-bound duty to protect the living and only fight when fair and justified. Speaking of honor, let's talk about Varrock Saurfang. During this battle, he leads the charge in culling the Alliance invaders and rescuing Undercity civilians. I'm guessing at this point Saurfang will do anything honourable he can, because to him there is little honour left in Sylvanas' Horde. Now here we have two characters who fight for the same side, Sylvanas and Saurfang, two people representing the Horde, Sylvanas as the war chief and Saurfang as the orc leader, the high overlord of the Horde. And they couldn't be more different. They really couldn't. Sylvanas will do anything she can to gain the upper hand. She will literally kill her own people if she has to survive and to thrive and to wipe out the Alliance competition, to even burn down Teldrassil because she felt like it. I don't get it. The Alliance and Horde fought pretty much side by side in Legion. There were some conflicts and some fights and everything, but at the end of the day, both factions worked together to take down Argus and to take down Sargeras and to rid the world of the Legion threat. And now after that, we have this massive war. Sylvanas will do anything she can, literally anything, using the Blight to wipe out her own people and raise them from the dead, burning down a tree. She doesn't care. She's done it in the past and she's cold-hearted, okay? And then we have Saurfang, a character who represents the Horde. Typically, the Horde are seen as evil, but Saurfang is honourable. He only fights when justified. He only fights if there's honour to be had. He only wants to die in an honourable battle, and that is what ends up happening nearly when Saurfang decides to leave Sylvanas because of her actions. He decides to go outside and fight Anduin Wrynn, the king of the Alliance himself, and see if he can claim his honourable death. But that doesn't work because Anduin decides to take him to the Stockades in Stormwind as a prisoner, because Anduin, like Saurfang, also maintains that level of honour. He isn't like Sylvanas. To be fair, hardly anyone on both factions is anything like Sylvanas. They both have honour, they have respect, they don't want to do anything harsh and unjust just because they can. And that's why I really like the little exchange between Anduin and Saurfang. Anduin knows that Saurfang is an honourable leader and he doesn't want to see him die over something that's as little as leaving the war chief, so he decides to take him in as a prisoner of war. Anduin even says that his father, Varian Wrynn, respected and even praised Saurfang for his honour in battle and his respect, and he had only good things to say about him. Now, in the future, we don't know whether Sylvanas will be overthrown. We don't know whether she will continue being the war chief, or she'll be killed, or she'll realise the effect of her actions and decide to step down. But I mean, I don't know about any of you guys, but I would love if Saurfang was the war chief. That would be the best thing possible. But to me, he can't do anything at the minute because he has to obey the war chief, and he can't do anything like kill her or overthrow her or do anything to sabotage her rule, because that would be, you know, that would be dishonorable. He couldn't do that. He has to abide by his code. He's one of the last few remaining members of, you know, the old traditional way of the Horde, and since characters like Garrosh came into it, Sylvanas came into it, that's kind of gone out the window, and he doesn't want that. You know, he sees that honor is leaving the Horde, so he can't do anything like that. But we'll have to see down the line how Sylvanas feels about her actions during this pre-patch event, and whether she'll regret them or she'll just move on and carry on doing stuff like this as she does. And then during this siege, we have Jaina Proudmoore rocking up on this massive ship that's floating in the sky. I mean, but my god, Blizz, please nerf Arcane. Like, this is insane. Like, Sylvanas unleashes the Blight, and then Jaina's like, no, I don't think so, pal. Because then she just frost novas the entire city, clears the Blight, and then makes cannons out of arcane magic to fire on the wall. Like, what even is this, man? Like, I understand Jaina's powerful, but a floating ship, magical cannons, and city, you know, frost novas the size of cities. Okay then, so it seems as if Jaina is matching Sylvanas, and without her I don't think the Alliance would have stood a chance. But Anduin saw her through the smoke and flames coming through on her ship, and he realised that they had a chance to turn the tides. And then comes Anduin again, Illyria and Jaina walking through the halls of Lordaeron into the main area, the throne room where Sylvanas is sitting, and there's quite a lot of comparisons here between the in-game pre-patch cinematic and the Warcraft 3 cinematic, where Arthas Menethil came into Lordaeron to kill his father back in the day. There's a lot of similarities here. Anduin walking through the hall, you know, compared to Arthas walking through the hall. Sylvanas on the throne against King Tyrannus Menethil on the throne. There's a lot of comparisons going on here, and even when you have like a wide shot of all four of them standing in the middle of the room with the light shining down, that was a similar thing with Arthur. So I thought that was a really nice nod to that, kind of a throwback. And obviously, Sylvanas set up everything from the beginning. She knew how this was going to go. She wanted it to go this way. She knew that Anduin wouldn't lash out because that would be dishonourable. And so she set a trap from when they were in there, and the trap was the Blight. They blighted the entire city, and they had to flee. So now we come to the faction war after the battle. Good and evil. The Alliance generally are very good. They're good guys. They do everything honourable for the most part. And the Horde are pure evil at this point. Although some of the Horde don't agree with what Sylvanas is doing, they have little power to stop her, because they will either, you know, she will either kill them or, you know, expose them for who they are and kind of twist things into a different, you know, different direction. Because, as I said, Sylvanas will do anything she can to maintain power and to maintain dominion over the Horde. So we'll have to see how this goes in the future. But right now it looks very black and white. On the surface, it's very black and white, very good and evil between the Horde and Alliance. But I'm really holding out hope for Saurfang, and especially Bane Bloodhoof, because he questions everything that's going on during this battle. He sees that Saurfang has left to fight Anduin and to claim his warrior's death, and to Bane, he's dead. Bane doesn't know that he's been captured at this point. Bane doesn't know that Saurfang isn't dead. He just assumes that Saurfang has left to die, and Bane can't do anything. He can't overthrow her, because similarly to Saurfang, Bane also upholds that honour, that respect, that kind of spark of the old Horde, that he just has to do what the war chief says. It's kind of a similar thing with General Nazgrim during Garrosh's rule as war chief. Nazgrim didn't agree with anything that Garrosh was doing, but because of his honour-bound duty to the war chief, he had to stay, he had to fight, even though he didn't want to. So that's kind of a thing that's going on here with Bane. He couldn't do anything, he just had to sit back, let this happen, and obey the war chief, even though he didn't want to. So I'm guessing Bane at this point is going to do everything he can to make things right from within the Horde, because if you guys didn't didn't know, Ben and Anduin are tight. They have a connection. They've spoken to each other. They are sort of friends at this point, and Sylvanas knows this. Sylvanas is completely aware that not all of the Horde are on her side, but we'll have to see where this goes, whether she expects people to overthrow her, whether she expects Serafang and Bloodhoof to assemble whatever remaining members of the Horde are with them, you know, against Sylvanas. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm really hoping that some sort of twist, some sort of plot turn happens at some point, because at the moment everything is very unsurprising. It's like there's something here that could happen, and then Sylvanas just comes and burns it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like what everyone thought was going to happen before the burning of the tree. People were theorizing that Sylvanas would take over Teldrassil and not burn it and just, you know, claim it for the Horde, and then Azshara or the influence of the old gods would burn the tree and blame it on Sylvanas. That would have been cool, but no, straight up, I burnt it, burn it down, I used the blight, I killed everyone. She's fully the bad guy now without any question. But overall, I enjoyed the Battle for Lordaeron. It was very big, very grand. A lot of the Alliance towers moving in. I fought on the Horde side and I was fighting against the Alliance, and it was very, very cool. But I think most people at this point don't really like Sylvanas, and they're saying, oh, Garrosh 2.0. But I don't know. I'm kind of guessing that Blizzard at this point are doing this on purpose, because people are very rolled up about it. People aren't very too happy with it, and the fact that Sylvanas is just blatantly the bad guy, and there's nothing going on that, you know, makes us sympathize with her. She's like, yep, she's Hitler, done with, thank you. You know, I think down the line Blizzard are going to remedy this. I think they planned this from the beginning to say that, look, let's make a very clear divide in the camp. Good, the Alliance, and the Horde is evil, and there's little elements in there of plot twists and everything that could happen. So I think they planned this from the beginning. They wanted this to happen. They want the players to feel agitated and angry at Sylvanas' actions, because it's working. Don't you feel angry? I feel angry. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this whole thing, is for you to feel angry and frustrated, and that's just going to fuel the entire expansion faction war for Battle for Azeroth. The fact that everyone is, you know, everyone hates Sylvanas, everyone doesn't like what she does, everyone is frustrated at this faction war. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. I just hope that it doesn't remain entirely black and white throughout the expansion, because that is very kind of childish and Disney-esque. You know, when you watch a Disney film, you can tell who the bad guy is, you can tell who the good guy is, you know what's going to happen. The bad guy's going to get in the upper hand for a bit, and the good guy's going to win. You know, it's very simple. It's not very deep, it's not very complex. So I hope that Blizzard decide to remedy this in the future and make something that's very deep and, you know, and complex, and make me want to sympathize with Sylvanas, make me think, oh well, she may be done these horrible things, but were they for the right reasons? Is she conflicted? All this other stuff. We can make the comparison between Arthas Menethil, when he had to cull his own people in Stratholme back in the day. He didn't want to do it, but he felt as if that was the only way to kind of contain everything that was going on, and he felt conflicted. You kind of sympathise with him to say that that was a really hard decision. Other people didn't agree with it, but what else could he do? But Sylvanas, she's like, no, I am the war chief, I can do anything I want, burn everything. So that's just my 2 cents on the topic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't played it, go and play it right now. Alliance and Horde, if you can, to get both sides of it. And I am just extremely excited to see where this story is going to go. I'm not really too bothered about the lore as a whole in Warcraft. I'm kind of just like, log in, get my gear, raid. You know, I like raiding, but I've never really been a massive lore nerd. But I think with this expansion, if they decide to flesh it out more, I could see myself enjoying this very much. So if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like on it. If you're new here, then subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the new amazing World of Warcraft videos coming your way. And with that, my name has been SleakGaming. You guys have been amazing, and I will see each and every one of you in my next video. Goodbye, guys.